This is the Mac Daddy here, and I'm going to do a video on the secrets of the Mac machine guns again. This video is about the open bolt semi-automatic pistol versions of the Mac machine guns that were manufactured from between 1980 to around 1982, the middle of 1982. First of all, history. This is going to be like for history. In around 1970, the Military Armaments Corporation came about. And their business was selling machine guns and suppressors. They were selling the Ingram's M10 and M11 machine guns and Mitch Warbell's psionic suppressors for them. They went out of business in 1976, and they had a bankruptcy sale auction, and three ex-employees bought a lot of the parts and a lot of the guns that they had left over. And they started a company called RPB Industries, and it was named RPB was named after the last initial of the last names of the three people who opened up the company. Well, for a couple of years they started selling the M10 and M11 machine guns and suppressors and stuff, and they were running out of money. They were going out of business again, and a guy by the name of Wayne Daniels ended up buying them out. And when Wayne Daniels took over the business, he wanted to sell a semi-automatic pistol version of the M10 and M11 machine guns because he figured he could sell a lot more and make more money off of it. Because back in the late 70s and early 80s, machine guns were a hard sell because you had to go through a lot of paperwork, fingerprints, pictures, $200 taxes. So machine guns were not selling very well. So he came out with a semi-automatic pistol version of the M10 and M11 380 submachine guns, and he gave the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, he gave them prototypes to make sure that the ATF would approve it as a semi-automatic pistol. And the way the ATF at the time approved a pistol as being a semi-automatic only is the pistol had to be hard to convert to a machine gun. Well, they looked at his semi-automatic versions of it, and they said, all right, this is sufficiently difficult to convert to a full auto, so we're gonna classify it as a semi-automatic pistol, which means you could sell it at any FFL dealer. At the same time, this particular gun was being made. This particular gun was being made by a company called Interdynamic in Miami, Florida. And this gun was called the KG9. And this is also an open bolt semi-automatic pistol. Now, Interdynamic, they also went through the ATF and had them approve this particular gun as a semi-automatic pistol. Well, in 1982, early 1982, a company called Jersey Arms Works, this guy right here, they came out with a semi-automatic pistol that they called the S7, and they decided that, well, since this S7 is pretty much a copy of the RPB M1045 semi, they figured that they didn't need to run a copy of this to the ATF to have them approve it as a semi-automatic pistol. That would come to bite them in the ass later. So, this right here is a semi-automatic version of the M11 380, and if you look at this gun here, you will see on the lettering here, it says SM11. Can you get this where it says SM11, Miriam? And if you look over here, SM11 means, the S means it's a semi, okay? Now if you look over here on the serial number starts with an SAP, semi-auto pistol. They also made SAC, which is semi-automatic carbine. They only made about 250 carbines. So if you can find one of these that's an SAC serial number, you got a very rare gun indeed. They also made semi-automatic carbine versions of the M10 and 9 and 45, but also a very few of those as well. Now you can tell on this gun that it's a semi-automatic open bolt pistol because you lock it open, you pull the trigger, hold the trigger. Notice, trigger resets. This is a semi-automatic only. It has not been converted to full auto. Same thing with this guy over here. Semi-automatic. So they were making these guns, RPB and Interdynamic, they were making these guns and they were selling a bunch of them. And what happened is the gangs in Miami, they found out that they could take a file to either of these guns. They could take a file and within about 15, 20 minutes of work, they can turn it into a full auto only machine gun. And the ATF got hold of this. They got a hold of this information and they went to these two companies and they said, you know what, we've changed our mind. The ATF changing their minds. Who figures? Go figure. Anyway, they said these guns are too easy to convert to full auto. And they said from now on we're going to classify them as machine guns and you will have to register them through the National Firearms Act and sell them as machine guns. Now this is back in 1982 when the ATF didn't think they were above the law. So they told these two manufacturers here, Interdynamic and RPB, they told them that all of the guns you've manufactured and sold so far, they're legal semi-automatics, and all of the guns you have in stock right now and manufactured through today, you can sell. They're all grandfathered in because we had approved them as semi-automatic pistols. So they're okay, but from now on, when you start manufacturing, if you start making any more of these guns, they're machine guns and you have to register them, right? Well, I wish they would have done that with the bump stocks. Anyway, so and remember I told you in 1982, this company called Jersey Arms Works, they started to manufacture this gun, well, this particular type of gun right now, and they figured that they would get this. They figured that, like I said, they figured that since it was so close to the RPB version that the ATF would have approved it anyway, and they didn't have to run it through them. Well, the ATF found out about this gun, and they went to the factory in New Jersey, Hatton, what do they call it, Hatton Industries or something like that, and they said, hey, we need to see we need to see one of these pistols. As soon as they saw one of those pistols, they said, well, this is a machine gun. We're going to classify it as a machine gun. So they said, well, can't you give us the same deal that you gave with RPB and Interdynamic? And can't you just call them, can you let us sell the 520 pistols we already manufactured? Well, the ATF said, no, because we never saw one of these guns before, and we never gave you permission. We never classified it as a semi-automatic pistol. So since we never classified it as a semi-auto pistol, this is the first time we've classified it. It's a machine gun. You're going to have to register it as a machine gun. So what they did is Jersey Arms Works, they took these 520 pistols they manufactured and they had to register them as machine guns. And they had to sell them as machine guns. They sold about 143 of them to Class 3 dealers, and they just went out of business because they just couldn't make any money at it. The other 377 of the pistols went into a vault. Now remember, all of these 520 pistols, they were registered and papered as machine guns. Now here comes late 80s, after the machine gun ban went into effect, SWD Incorporated, which was the predecessor of RPB, after the government reclassified these semi-automatic pistols as machine guns, RPB went out of business, and around that same year, around in 1982, and in 1983 they opened another business. Wayne Daniels, he opened another business called SWD Incorporated, which was named after his wife, Sylvia Williams Daniels, and he started to manufacture a new machine gun he called the M11-9. Right here, this is an M11-9. So he started manufacturing M11-9. He also manufactured a closed-bolt hammer-fired version of the M11-9 pistol, which was approved by the government. And he found out about these 377 registered machine gun pistols that were still sitting in a vault. He bought them out, and he rebuilt them as very close copies of the original Mac M1045. The only difference is the collapsible stock on their version was a little different. So he sold those as machine guns. Now, this particular gun right here, remember I told you they sold 143 of them as pistols. And this is actually the receiver I bought this as a strip receiver back in 1991. A lot of these original 143 receivers ended up as strip receivers, and they were sold off as machine gun receivers in the early 90s, and I bought 2 of them for $255 a piece. And this is one of them right here. Now you look at this gun and you say, that's not a pistol, this is actually a machine gun. What I did is I converted this receiver from a pistol receiver into a machine gun receiver, and I built it with a set of M1045 machine gun parts that I got from SWD Incorporated. I added the stock, and like I said, I converted to full auto. Now, you're asking me, I thought it was illegal for you to convert a semi-automatic pistol into a machine gun. Well, like I said, since this gun, this receiver was registered as a machine gun, I can do anything I want to it. I can put any kind of linked barrel on it I want. I can put any kind of stock on it I want. I can pretty much do anything as long as I don't really change anything on the receiver really big. So this is what happened. This gun, actually, out of the 3 guns, these 3 guns here, this is the most valuable of these guns because it's a transferable machine gun. These guns, like I said, they're semi-automatic pistols, and the reason why I bought these two actually in it was 1982, right after they were declared machine guns. But I bought these 2 because they were grandfathered in, remember, and I was living in Illinois at the time, and since machine guns were illegal in Illinois, this was as close as I could get to a machine gun. So I bought these 2. They were like $400 a piece, which was a lot of money back then. But these things are selling for a couple thousand a piece now. So I didn't make a bad deal on that. But the biggest deal I made was on the real machine guns. Those are the ones I made the biggest deal on, because when I moved to Florida, I ended up buying some machine guns, and this one would cost me $350. This one cost me $255. So I made out like a bandit on those. But this is, like I said, this is a video about the semi-automatic pistols. I think I've made a long enough video. I'm going to make another separate video about the differences between this particular gun, the semi-automatic pistols, and the machine guns here. And I'll do that in a little while. I want to thank my wife for this video, and thank you very much for watching.